welcome back to mine and Bernard's tiny corner of the internet. Today is Wednesday, which means I've got another book talk video for you guys. But before we get into that, I thought I would show you something rather startling that I just discovered when I picked up my phone to look at the weather app. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but that's snow. Starting tonight and going all through the week, at least up until Saturday. Saturday it turns to, it's a mix of snow and rain, and then it goes back to fall temperatures. But for this week, we're having snow with lows of -5. I'm not sure I'm ready for that, but normally it snows after Halloween here. And by after Halloween, I mean on November 1st. Like the day after Halloween, so many years is when we get our first snowfall. So if it does snow tonight, I'll get some of that in a vlog, and you can see what that's like on October 4th. But let's not dwell on the snow. Let's just jump right into it. So today's book talk video, we're going to be talking about my part 2 of some of my favorite Stephen King books. I'm still shaking off the tail end of my cold, so if I sound a little congested or raspy, that's why. But anyway, the first book I want to talk about today is Cujo by Stephen King. Clearly, they're all by Stephen King. Cujo. I found this and another one I'm going to talk about at a garage sale. There's something extra spooky about finding Stephen King books on the table at a garage sale. It makes me think like, oh, someone was real spooked by it and had to just get rid of it. Which then always leads me to think about the episode of Friends where Joey and Rachel decide they're going to swap favorite books. Joey gives Rachel Little Women, and Rachel gives Joey Cujo, and he ends up being so scared by it that he has to keep it in the freezer, because in his mind that's a way to keep him safe from the contents of the book. And I found that whole storyline hilarious, and I think of it so often. So yes, Cujo is about a dog. He's a very good dog. He is a sweet dog, a dog who only wants to make his master happy. But one day he wanders into a cave where he's bit by a rabbit? Pretty sure it's a rabbit. And he gets infected and he changes and becomes a thing of evil and terrorizes one family in particular. If you've seen the film Cujo, you probably remember that iconic scene where mother and son are in the car and the dog's kind of jumping at the windows and trying to get into them. As a dog lover, I found this very scary and very difficult to read. The kind of unraveling of this dog. It's so sad, but it's a great. If you want one of those books that you have the covers pulled up around your chin and you're reading it, this is definitely that book. I remember reading, I think in Stephen King's On Writing, that this is the book that he does not really remember writing because he was very deep into his drug and alcohol addiction at that time, and this book just kind of came out of that. So that's interesting to keep in mind while reading as well. Next up, my second garage sale, Stephen King Find a Salem's Lot. This one's also published in the 70s. I believe this was Stephen King's second book. It's a vampire tale, but these vampires are not lovable. They're not your friends. They're sure as shit not your lovers. And they're the way I like my vampires. I like them mean and I like them brutal, and Salem's Lot delivers that. So it's about Ben. And Ben grew up in Salem, in the sleepy Maine town, and he's now an adult and a writer, and he's returning there to kind of face the unspeakable evil that is within that town. So if you like vampire tales and you like them, you like the nasty vampires, definitely give Salem's Lot a read. Next up, one of my favorites, Misery. Misery is the tale of a writer. As you can see a lot in Stephen King's books and stories, the main character is a writer, because I guess you inject a bit of yourself there into the stories. So Misery is about a writer who has written a series of books and a super fan, a very very disturbed super fan who doesn't like the way things have gone, and she wants him to write it differently. So she kidnaps him, she holds him hostage in a bedroom where she forces him to write. And that's basically, the novel is basically just the two of them and their exchanges, and it's absolutely terrifying. If you have not read Misery or seen the book, I keep saying that. I was talking to someone earlier about something, and I said, if you haven't seen the book, they were kind of like, what? If you haven't seen the movie or read the book, definitely do. It's super creepy, gory, very stressful, but a great book again. Next up, this was one that came out a few years ago, Joyland. I hadn't been anticipating the release of this. I hadn't heard about it. And we were traveling. We were in an airport in Chicago when I saw this in an airport bookstore, and I picked it up and read it on the plane. So this is kind of like sort of a pulp crime story. It was written for Hard Case Crime. So Hard Case Crime brings you the best in hardboiled crime fiction, from lost pulp classics to new works by today's most powerful writers, all in handsome and affordable editions. And yes, when this came out, it came out immediately in this trade paperback size, not in hardcover. So this story is about Devin Jones, and he's a young man who is experiencing a heartbreak, his first actually, and he decides that he needs to get away and get a summer job. So he goes and gets a job at an amusement park in, I think, North Carolina? Doesn't say here on the map, but I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. So it's an amusement park. So it's just a really fun, I love the cover artwork. It's just such, you know, that kind of pulp novel feel. It's so beautiful. So yeah, he goes and he gets a job at this amusement park, and he encounters a ghost there, and he's then kind of taken on a journey. And I don't want to say too much about it. I don't want to give too much away, but it's great. It's kind of different than his other stories. You know, it's a murder, a mystery, so there's, you know, murder and crime, but there's also some supernatural woven in there, as Stephen King often does with his stories. There's always, you know, there's always a touch of the supernatural, even when it's more of a mystery story. And finally, my cough has been the last thing lingering, and sometimes when I talk for too long, it gets triggered. My cough gets triggered. We're just gonna pause this for a sec. The final book we're gonna talk about today is The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, and this came out last Christmas, and it's a collection of short stories. My last Stephen King video focused mainly on my favorite short story collections, and this one gets added in here. Again, look at the cover art. So beautiful. So what a great title too, The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. I love it. This has about 20 stories in it, most previously published. I think there's a couple that were previously unpublished. If you haven't picked this up yet and want to, wait until, I think it's in October. Oh, it is October now. I think this month they're coming out with the hardcover edition, and there's going to be a bonus story in it that's not in this. So again, with short story collections, it's hard really to give too much of a description about it, but it's just a really fun collection of short stories, sure to give you the creeps. That's about it. So that is it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to both Bernard and I, even though he looks a little disinterested right now, like he's looking in the other direction. So rude. But yeah, it means a lot to us. I was wondering, I've got a few years ago I took a crystal healing course, and I've been tossing around the idea of doing a video about crystals and how they can be used in your day-to-day life for clearing energies or meditations or things like that. So I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in, but if you think that you might, let me know in the comments down below, and I will definitely get on that for you because I think that could be fun. So yeah, I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you guys on Friday.